I'd go into the phone lines and welcoming in Tom Murphy here to the Morning Rush. Tom, good morning. Incredible offensive performance that we saw from the Razorbacks on Saturday, but the defense just did not show up. And really in the fourth quarter when you give up 27 points, Tom, there's not many football games that you can win on the road when that occurs.
Yeah, just, another step for these Razorbacks. Just there's been some painful losses along the way, and I think Razorback fans might have conditioned themselves now to think, man, we're going to be in these games. We've won some, and want to start winning the close ones now too. But I think probably the key series was when Arkansas went up 40-26, and there might have been 9 minutes left. I can't remember, but something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And Missouri just went bam, bam, 2 huge plays, and you're like, okay, this is not going to be a walkover. And obviously, Missouri scored touchdowns on 3 consecutive drives, and in the span of 8 something. And just a shootout that they had the ball last. I mean, when they score with 43 seconds left, yeah, you're happy. They take the lead with a 2-point conversion, but 43 seconds was enough time to get in field goal range. We all knew that when they took the ball.
Tom, what I thought was interesting about that football game is you have KJ Jefferson come in, and initially you're like, all right, Arkansas is probably going to end up losing this game, and then just the offensive performance that he put out. I got a text on Friday night asking about if Franks was hurt or not, and I hadn't heard anything to the contrary. Had you heard any whispers about Felipe and his ribs prior to the game on Saturday?
There were some whispers out there, and then Friday morning, obviously, it got a little bit loud. Saturday morning, it got a little bit louder.
Mm-hmm.
But I've got to tell you, I think this is a testament to the work that this staff has put in. That Felipe was, Felipe had immersed himself in the offense and knows how to run it. But B, KJ Jefferson stayed on point and worked hard and was able to deliver in a game like this. Missouri had one of the better pass defenses in the entire conference, and he had a couple of passes. I think his first pass was way overthrown. If I remember right, the LSU game, he was kind of pumped up that he started last year and had a couple of overthrows. But he got it together, and he was mostly on target, and his running is a huge advantage too. And he's a better runner than Felipe, I think, as time will show. But just a phenomenal job by Kendall Briles having a package and everyone believing in what KJ could do and him delivering.
Tom, it seemed like every time you looked up and Missouri had a big play throwing the ball, it was to Hudson Clark's side. I don't know if they were just picking on him or if that just seemed to be the pattern, but that seemed to also be a pattern for a few games now. Is this just a lack of depth with the transfers that we saw some guys opt out earlier in the season, or is this just something we saw in this game? What were you seeing in the Arkansas secondary that led to some of those big passing gains for Missouri?
Yeah, there's very few teams in the SEC that can withstand the amount of loss at cornerback, like Jarquez McClellan opt out Jerry Jacobs after 4 games gone. 2 guys who would, basically starters. And man coverage, Hudson Clark, not maybe as swift as on the other SEC corners, and they definitely targeted him. But they also got the other side too. Kari Johnson gave up some plays late in the game. I know the late pass that led to one of their fourth quarter touchdowns, the deep pass down the right sideline was on Kari. So both sets of Arkansas corners, and Buster Brown gave up some plays too. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't just Hudson Clark, but certainly with 43 seconds left to go, that first play, they just went, boom, we're going to go left, and they got, 19 yards out of it or something. And clearly, I wrote about that this week in my helmets, that Arkansas zone coverage has been a lot better than its man. And now I think the teams that are protecting well, their quarterbacks are understanding where the pockets in the zones are going to be too. So the defensive strategies that Barry Odom put together that really paid off against the Mississippi schools, the teams are scheming it up and they're doing better against it. Arkansas has got to get some better personnel, and they got to get better pass rushers to start with, I thought with all those D linemen coming back this week that, they'd be able to get some pressure. But, man, the D line had one of its poor performances, just did not hold the point of attack well enough, got blocked too often, didn't get pressure on the quarterback. And as Sam pointed out in the postgame, sometimes football is about winning man-to-man battles. So that applies to the cornerbacks, winning in man, and some D linemen just beating their blocker and winning a play.
Yeah. The other reoccurring theme in the game that's been there a few times throughout the season is the missed extra points, troubles with the kicking game. Again, Arkansas misses 2 glaring extra points in the game Saturday at Missouri. Anything stand out to you watching this one in person? Again, this is a problem that is not new to this Razorback football team.
No, it's not. I mean, Reed doinked the first one, but the second one I thought was a kind of a low kick. The guy blocked it. He got up, but it didn't have the height it really needed. And I noticed on his next extra point, he really got lost on it. So it is a problem. I mean, we don't know. You can't project how the loss of those 2 points play out the rest of the game, how the team's strategy might have changed. But it did force Arkansas, obviously, to have, I knew Sam Pittman was going to go for 2. I knew it when they got the ball. If they score a touchdown on this, they are going to go for 2. And that should have been the moment that it seemed like fortune was on their side. Mm-hmm. They go for 2. They are aggressive. They score a touchdown when they have to behind their freshman quarterback. They take a 1-point lead. They hang on. They win a huge rivalry game. But it didn't happen because of the late drive. But, yes, the kicking game certainly impacted. And how about Harrison Mavis, the Missouri kicker, opens the game with a 51-yarder and closes it with the game winner. Yeah. He kicks 5 field goals, and another Harrison Butker for the Chiefs, he kicks 5 last night. So, 10 field goals among the Harrison kickers in Missouri over the weekend.
So back to drive your point home on the 2-point conversion. Generally, when you have a fortuitous bounce, a fortuitous play where a ball has to carom and you come diving into, the football gods have shined down upon you. They're smiling on you. You're going to win when something like that happens. That was the strangest thing to me, Tom, is somehow you still manage to find a way to let it slip through your fingers after something that generally, if a play of good fortune goes your way, you end up in the winners column. And that was the thing that kind of also stood out in the game. You bring up the 2-point conversion. Generally, a play like that where you have to have a bounce and a bit of good fortune generally seals the deal.
I think you're right. Like, hey, this is our day now. This play happened. Because the Razorbacks have
extra
had
shot
plays
of confidence
like that go against them, or they haven't made them. I was looking through my binoculars on that play, and when KJ rolled to his left, I'm like, this isn't good. A breakdown play. But when he threw it with such conviction looking, I'm thinking, okay, I track it with my binoculars, and it's in the hands of a Missouri defender. Well, I guess I kind of pulled my binoculars up because I didn't see Woods snag the ball. And the next thing I know, the Razorback sideline's exploding, and Woods is running through there. And to see it on replay, it was unbelievable. He was on his knees, and the linebacker Brooks just couldn't bring it in, and the carom went right into Woods' hands. Yeah, it's number 1 on SportsCenter, a great play, and you think that's the one that does this. And yet it did not.
Yeah. And just weren't able to get over the top because, as you mentioned, Tommy brought the fortuitous bounce that you seemed to have. Everything seemed to be clicking at that point, and the defense just got run over the following series. So, Tom, switching up the conversation as we're closing down with you here. Arkansas men's basketball, Arkansas women's basketball, they both get a win this weekend. The women's team, Mike Neighbors, they defeat the defending national champions in the Baylor Bears by 5, and the men's team just crushed Lipscomb. Just your thoughts on both those games this weekend, big-time wins for Mike Neighbors, and then Eric Musselman leading his team to a 4-0 start.
Yeah, I mean, big-time pub for Mike Neighbors and the women's basketball team. Deserving credit. They've just been building, a lot of faith in that program. And to beat a Kim Mulkey team that was number 4 in the country, that is phenomenal. I just thought Baylor would come in here and win. But, they got it done. They even though they didn't shoot the 3-ball super great, they got it done, and it just speaks to the potential for this team. I mean, beating a team like Baylor, even though it was at home, gives you confidence down the road somewhere when you're playing a power team on a neutral floor that you can pull one out. So just real big kudos to Mike Neighbors. And then, of course, Eric Musselman. They're still feeling that roster out, in my opinion, and it may take some time, maybe until they get into conference play. But just seeming to be on the right path. I love the fact that they're crushing people on the boards now. And they found ways to win last year when they were getting crushed on the board. So things are looking up in basketball, no doubt.
Do they replace the game they lost with Tulsa on Tuesday? Does this Arkansas-Little Rock game that's being chirped about on Twitter happen, or is that just a lost game at this point?
I do not know that. I was driving all day yesterday, and I would like to see that happen. And, of course, if Darrell Walker wants to play it, it's probably going to happen. So I do not know the details.
Yeah, that'd be fun. And what we were talking earlier, what a change of position. For decades and really the all-time policy was you don't play in-state schools. And then this week you would potentially, if that game occurred, play Little Rock on Tuesday, and then later in the week play Central Arkansas. What a 180 for the Arkansas basketball program and just the athletic department to play two in-state schools in 1 week in men's basketball.
It would be really cool, and I do hope that it does happen.
Yeah, it would be.
I'd be down for it as well. Tom Murphy of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette and Whole Hog. Tom, we appreciate your time every Monday and Thursday, and we'll talk to you in a couple days, buddy.
You betcha. Congratulations on your taco eating, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it, buddy.
That was the biggest win of the weekend was tying the taco eating contest.